mute them for you. If you don't mute them, I will mute your mics.
Well, yeah.
Just
And
mute
Lisa,
your.
can you amplify? You should amplify.
Oh, true. I should amplify. You're right. Hold on.
Hey, Deb.
And you guys can probably hear me better now. Okay,
Get
please
off
mute your
stage.
mics, guys, all the way in the back. We're going to start Crypto Mondays. I will mute them for you if you don't get to them before I do. But welcome to Crypto Mondays, guys. We are now live and streaming. Today is April 20th, 2020. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Lou now. He will introduce our speaker for today. Lou?
Okay, thanks a lot, Annalise. And Annalise is with Crypto Mondays partner Bits and Token, and they're an awesome partner for everybody who wants to do something in VR. So thanks a lot, Annalise. And Jerome, I don't know if you're here as well. Excited tonight to have as our special guest fireside chat with Brady Swinson from Swan Bitcoin, and he also has a great podcast, the Citizen Bitcoin podcast. So welcome, Brady. Is this the Crypto Mondays VR? Is this the first VR a thing you've come spoken at?
Yeah, the first one I've spoken at. I went to Udi's Magical Crypto Friends a couple weeks ago. That was the first event I went to.
God.
Yeah.
Okay. And he had that. Did he have that at the Altspace VR rooftop?
Yeah, they do it every Saturday in the afternoon U.S. time, like early afternoon. Good times.
Okay, cool. And does that get a good crowd?
Yeah, I think there were probably about 50 people there. Last week I missed it, but they had Rosti for Olalura Oskaton, who kind of heads up development at Lightning Labs for LND, and he's famous for speaking about 3 times faster than the average human. So that was pretty fun. I watched this.
And he's understandable.
Yeah, you get
Oh
used
my
to it.
gosh. No. I was there. We were streaming it. It was, wow. He really needed to slow down. And props to Udi for trying to slow him down. Like he tried, because like, I don't know if you're in the group chat, but like, everyone was just like, man, we can't understand what this man's saying. And he was like trying to slow him down. Man. Very informative, but wow. I was like, this is American. There's no way.
Slow down the genius. Yep.
So cool. So we were just talking about the presence. Let's start at the beginning. What was how did you get into crypto? What's your genesis story?
Yeah. So, I made a Coinbase account in like 2014. Had trouble connecting my little regional bank, and so I just forgot about it. And came back in 2017 when I started hearing the hype about the new all-time high, and then like figured out what was going on. Like most people, like just got obsessed and spent every waking moment staying up super late.
What
reading.
obsessed you about it? Because it's something, right? Everybody comes at it from a different angle, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've been in tech my whole life, so that definitely fascinated me. And then I found Andreas. I think a lot of people find Andreas videos on YouTube. And then the political stuff, like the separation of money and state, really fascinated me as well. And I didn't know anything about Austrian economics or, I was just what I like to call a default Keynesian. You just kind of like, that's the way things are. The government runs the money. We don't know anything different. I learned that certainly isn't the case, and that we're sort of in this aberration, this historical aberration right now. And so I learned a lot about the money. And after trying to trade altcoins for several months and getting completely wrecked, I just learned how to hodl and started a podcast in 2018. It was super small and tiny until early 2019. I started interviewing Bitcoiners, and now it's
what month did you start? Because obviously 2018 was an eventful. It started off fire rockets. I started Monday on June 8th, 2018, which was literally the peak market cap.
For the first year, it was really just me and my buddy Tommy sitting around talking Bitcoin. We thought we'd record them to kind of force us to like study a bit and try to know what we were talking about. And then I started doing interviews when I felt like I knew enough to kind of hang with the longer term Bitcoiners, and that was like February 2019, so it's been a little over a year now. Done like 80 episodes and lots of great interviews. It's at citizenbitcoin.world. You can sift through that and find some episodes you might be interested in. There's lots of good stuff there.
And do you monetize it?
Yeah, so that's how I ended up at Swan. Corey Clifton, our founder, he launched a product called Give Bitcoin. He didn't really intend to be like a big business, but a way for solve a problem that he saw, a way to get Bitcoiners on board, and make it easy for us to, like, as Bitcoiners, like, give Bitcoin to people, and then education as well along with that. And then he kind of realized that there was a big opening for making auto stacking or recurring buys, DCA, much easier. And so Give Bitcoin sponsored my podcast for the first sponsor in November as they were leading up to the gifting season, the holiday season. And Corey and I just really hit it off, and he found out that I've been doing tech stuff and online marketing for a long time and needed somebody to do that kind of stuff, and just started working on like retainer or like a contract for a couple of months, and joined full time at the beginning of March.
Okay, terrific. So it's awesome having a full-time job in the industry.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, I still kind of am I don't know, kind of pinch myself mode, like just how, I know it's lucky because there's not that many to go around right now, so I hope that changes in the next couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that we're obviously all gambling on that. So,
No doubt.
I mean, if you want to talk too, just a little bit more about Swan Bitcoin and how that's going and.
Yeah. So my title at Swan is Head of Education, and we like to say that our marketing is education. So we aren't engaging or hoping, not engaging too much in traditional marketing activities. We are just here to like teach people about Bitcoin and create, more great educational content. I think the educational content in Bitcoin and crypto has, just drastically improved over the past couple of years, just in volume and quality. And I think this next bull run, the new coiners coming in will have a much easier time coming up to speed on what's going on here. And so Swan wants to help people with that. We believe that, auto DCA is the best way and easiest way to invest in Bitcoin. And it's, timing the market is super hard. I learned that the hard way. Auto dollar cost averaging is the sort of trader's way to say this. So you just buy regularly on intervals over time. So you might buy
like stacking sats.
Exactly. It's stacking sats. So that it's called lots of things. Stacking sats, recurring buys. DCA is sort of the trader's term for it, dollar cost averaging. So you're just buying a little bit all the time. You're not trying to time the market, and if you're buying a little bit every week,
at least 99%
exactly
of the people can't.
Yeah, I bet if we asked around, there's a lot of stories in here that are similar. Like we just try to time it, and eventually your luck runs out, and you make several bad trades, and you're back to where you started, and it's rough.
Yeah, you're back to where you started if you're lucky.
Exactly. Yeah, and then it's down from there.
And so, how do you market the product?
Yeah, so right now we're marketing to Bitcoiners who want to do this. Like this idea has been around for a while, and there's several products around the world that, like Amber in Australia and Bitter in Europe. I think Bull Bitcoin in Canada has a similar product. And these are all pretty recent in the past 6 months or so that have become available. And so we wanted to bring something to the US. Coinbase has a service as well. But we wanted to bring something that was Bitcoin only, and we also have much lower fees than Coinbase. Because we're a much smaller team and we're focused on Bitcoin only, we don't have to support, a bunch of different tokens and coins. So we can offer lower fees, and we're competitive on that front as well. And then we go about education. We have a podcast. We broadcast live every Wednesday. We bring in a couple Bitcoiners, and we talk about, the newsy topics and whatever's going on. And then we, publish it as a podcast on Fridays. we're writing a book called The Gift of Bitcoin. It started with Give Bitcoin. It's 12 chapters. We're gathering input from 15 or so different kind of educators in the space. And that's intended to be a relatively quick read to bring new coiners up to speed. We have a blog that we're contributing to on a regular basis, and eventually we want to build out like a pretty formal online education presence for Bitcoin at swanbitcoin.com. So that's where we're aiming in the next a couple of years to really build out that and have it be a place where new coiners can come and get up to speed and very quickly.
And one of the things that I struggled with for a long time, I was a Wall Street analyst, and part of my job was not only finding good stocks, but and if I found one good stock a year, that was a great year if I saw something that nobody else did. But also to be able to tell the story in a couple sentences, and so that's
right.
something that I've long struggled with Bitcoin. Do you have an elevator pitch?
Yeah, well, it definitely depends on who I'm talking to, and whether or not they're digital natives, for instance, like the age kind of matters. Yeah.
She
okay.
She says, "What do you do?" And I go, "I'm into crypto. Have you heard of Bitcoin?" And she goes, "No, what's that?"
Yeah. Well, I would just say it's the future of money, and I would go from there. I think I would encourage the other person to really ask some questions. So it's the future of money, and what do you know about money, and what do you know about how the internet works and everything, and go from there. I think you could easily get drugged down into the weeds on tech and on Austrian economics and all that stuff. There's so much complexity and nuance to be had and all that stuff. So I think just keeping it in like really simple terms is important, and then not like pushing it. When I was the first few months, my friends, like, I drove them crazy because I couldn't talk about anything else, or I would try to figure out how to work Bitcoin into every conversation. Quickly learned that that's not the right approach. So feel like you got to shill lightly. If people are motivated and interested, they know that I'm into Bitcoin, they'll come and ask me about it. So if I was on a date, I'd say it's the future of money. It's really fascinating to me, and then probably move on unless you want to talk about it.
Yeah. When I first got into it, I was so manic, I stopped showering. And then when I lost my friends, I wasn't sure whether it was because of the not showering or because of the Bitcoin shilling.
Yeah. Probably both. And
it is. So Annalise is you tell me to amplify, and I'm as high as it goes on 3.
Okay, so when you amplify, because you're a host, I can't amplify myself. So if you go into your host tools, and there's a megaphone above the panel, it's the third icon down. Click amplify.
Yeah. Oh, that's
the
amplify.
crowd should be able. Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
And I'm already amplified.
Yeah, no, you're all set. Continue.
All right, cool. All right, nice.
And so, so obviously education is a great thing. My concern is that most people actually don't really want to get educated about much. And I know you talk about piquing your interest. And so, so like the idea of an elevator pitch is, how do you get them to want to buy it?
Yeah.
With a couple sentences. And the future of money, obviously that then opens up a whole other Pandora's box of questions. I actually came up with something, just with everything that's obviously going on in the world now, which is what we all saw coming down the pike, with central bankers and everything that they're doing. But now, so I just came up with the tagline, or the elevator pitch that, in a world that is being flooded with fiat, Bitcoin is our ark. That's how you not only survive the flood, but you can actually thrive during the flood. Do you still see it?
I really like that piece you wrote, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate that. And so you still see it as money. that you think
Yeah, I
it'll
mean, I think
evolve
I
to
think
money
it's a
that
lot more
people
than
will
money.
actually buy stuff with Bitcoin?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um, I think right now, the monetization process of any new monetary asset is definitely going to take time. There's network effects of money are extremely strong, and in 11 years, I certainly would not expect a new alternative to the U.S. dollar to become, to become the medium of exchange and unit of account. So I think we're at this sort of store of value stage. I mean, we have kind of moved from the collectible stage. It was curious collectible for internet nerds and cryptographers, and then probably some gold bugs and Austrian, economists. But those niches are really small. And it was kind of like, oh, this is interesting. I'm going to check it out, and it was just a curiosity. And I think it's very clear now that we're at this store of value stage if you are thinking long term. So if you hold Bitcoin for at least 5 years, you're going to do pretty well, I think. And I think eventually, just the truth of sound money, will assert itself. And like you said, I mean, I think this virus has sort of been maybe tip the top of the house of cards that fiat has been built on. And this money printing that's happening, and then there's a new proposal now to give $2,000 a month to any individual who makes less than $130,000 a year, and to $4,000 a month to any household that makes less than $260,000 a year. That's a lot of people in the United States. Also, mortgage and rent forgiveness for an entire year. That's printing a ton of money, and we have this alternative that will gain value against the dollar because simply it's sound money. It's it's impossible to create more, and there will only be 21 million. So that monetary policy is set in stone, and obviously the monetary policy of the dollar, I think, is coming into question more and more. And then just the numbers, the math, will make Bitcoin more valuable against the U.S. dollar as they print more and more.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was in 2000. My first company was called the Top Level Domain.tv. We were the largest streamers of video on the web.
Okay.
And except for the experience sucked because the pipes weren't fat enough. And then
Sure.
fast forward 5 years, and a couple of small internet sites opened up where you could upload video. And then one day somebody uploaded a video called Lazy Sunday onto YouTube, and that day YouTube became the fastest growing website in the history of the internet. And 6 months later, Google bought it for 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And so I've been there, and I can tell other stories similar to that where something isn't really a thing until again, slowly until suddenly, right?
Yep.
And so to some degree, I feel like I'm waiting and doing everything I can to
You were just talking about
to help
how the internet bandwidth is so awesome.
find that somewhat.
Uh-oh.
Okay, all right.
Flash crash.
And Lou disappeared. All right, so chances are his headset died. F for Lou. F for Lou.
Looks like we got some questions.
Yep.
Okay, Lou's back.
Yeah. So I'm back. Not
Hey,
quite
Lou.
sure what happened.
It's
But, okay, and I'm up here now because I'm standing up. But yeah, so I was just finished. What was the last question? Mid-sentence.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about. I mean, I think we started by talking about how Bitcoin.
What the lazy
arc.
Yeah, what the lazy Sunday moment. If there's anything that you're looking for when this happens, that's that could be the thing that triggers the mass adoption.
Oh yeah. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think hyperinflation of the U.S. dollar could move things pretty quickly. I think that it'll be a process of the U.S. dollar becoming clearly unstable. I guess, sort of the scheme of fiat money, almost a lie, really, that it has been kind of perpetrated on the world. I think one thing that the world will really come to understand is that there's this, the Cantillon effect. It's a economics idea. So the Cantillon effect is,
and I was an economics major, so
yeah, I mean, I took quite a few economics classes in college too, and I didn't learn all this stuff. It's all Keynesian stuff in college for the most part. But the Cantillon effect is this idea that the closer you are to the money, the source of the money, the spigot, so to speak, the better off you are, right? The better off you do. You're going to get a lot more of that money. So,
oh wow, that's a great. I mean, that's obviously a thing, right? That we all kind of know, but did not know it had
sort of
name.
Intuitively, right? Yeah, I mean, the banks and are getting this stuff at basically like zero interest. They're getting the money directly, and then banks loan it out to corporations and small businesses and individuals, and that's how the money sort of distributed. This whole like straight airdrop of fiat into citizens' bank accounts is a new thing, and I think that's interesting. But anyway, the Cantillon effect, yeah, it applies also internationally because the US dollar is the world reserve currency, and we're going to be printing a bunch of money not only to protect the US economy, we're also going to be printing a bunch of money to back up global debt, which there's, I think Corey says there's like $45 trillion of global debt that's backed by the US dollar. So if you're going to backstop that and try to stop a global global economic crisis through printing, then that's, an insane amount of money to print. And that's, that money's going to benefit Americans first and most, and just create even more of a kind of separation between Americans' kind of standard of living and the rest of the world. So it's almost like this crazy global tax. And that I think that unfair situation is going to become more apparent to the rest of the world. And I think there's going to be sort of because of that, a pushback against the US dollar, and the alternatives that will be there are maybe some other national fiat currencies and then Bitcoin and crypto. So I think I see this whole event of printing a bunch of money really precipitating this event, and it's going to bring the future forward maybe like by a decade or two, honestly. So this is fascinating time.
So in the time that I've been in, 24/7 crypto, I saw the crypto on June 29th, 2017, stopped everything. We've been 24/7 since. And it's been amazing. I mean, it's been incredible. The market obviously isn't where I thought it would be. But, another thing that has a name that intuitively, and it has a name, it's called the Mare's Law, which is the fact that the impact of all, and he coined it in early 70s, a Stanford professor. And it's the fact that the impact of all great technology is overestimated in the short run and underestimated in the long run.
Right.
And that's true of all great technology, and obviously including this. And to me, though, and I've seen so many mind-blowing things in the last 3 years. But
including this right here, right?
Yeah, exactly. The most mind-blowing thing, though, that I've seen is was Tether, right? Which became the dominant stable coin because it was backed. It had $1 in the bank for every Tether outstanding, and then there was an audit, and turned out there was only 75 cents for every $1 outstanding, and nobody cared.
Yeah. Well, we're all used to fractional reserve banking, right? And 75% reserve is actually pretty damn good. So,
right.
Yeah,
but to me, and I had been saying it, but it's that, right? It's all a confidence game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so, right. So the thing that makes us lose confidence, right? We have confidence until we don't.
Right.
Right. And so, I don't know. I mean, do you think there was any level where if it came out that Tether would have been in trouble? I mean, if they had said 50%, if they'd said 25%, do you think there was a place where people would have cared at that point?
Yeah. I think there were some people that cared at 75%. I think 50% or 25% would be much bigger deal, obviously. I don't know. I think Tether wasn't really ever that interesting to me. I think it was a great tool for traders. It provided a lot of liquidity, much faster than the fiat, traditional fiat monies provided. But I didn't see much of a use case beyond that. And I'm not a trader, so it wasn't ever that interesting to me. I did follow.
But obviously,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you, but obviously you've
That's
seen
okay.
what it's been doing now over the last number of weeks in terms of it's the fastest growing asset in crypto now.
Yeah, I honestly haven't seen that, but yeah, tell me about it. Like that's amazing. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean it's adding billions of dollars because it's the easiest way, right? How do people
Yeah,
get into crypto? They buy
yeah,
Tether,
right.
right? So if you're worried about,
And
now you're just getting into dollars, but at least you're getting into digital dollars instead of putting them
right.
in the bank, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the
that makes
government
sense.
can take it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that was the use case I saw, that it was a great on ramp and especially used for trading liquidity. So yeah, it makes sense. I mean, when I in
But what about all
2017,
liquidity? What about if you just don't want to hold dollars in a bank because
yeah,
banks are banks? Would you rather
yeah,
have a
interesting.
dollar in a
I
bank
mean,
or a dollar with Tether?
for me, Tether is basically a bank. Like, I mean, you're still trusting in a central party to make sure that you have reserves. Like I said, I do think that even 50 or
Well, no.
75%
Are you
reserves,
trusting
like,
that, or are you just trusting that the next guy will take it for a dollar?
yeah, I mean, well, I think you have a good point there. It is a confidence game, right? I mean, that's essentially what money is like you're going to hold the thing that is the most saleable good, right? The thing that you think will be most saleable that day and the next day and in the future. Um, and so maybe people will think that Tether is more saleable than the dollar. If that's the case, then yeah, Tether could quickly take over the dollar, I guess, as a fiat based liquidity. But it is
Well, I mean,
dollar
it is
backed.
the dollar,
I mean,
right? I mean,
it is the
weirdly,
dollar.
right? It
It's
is the
dollar backed.
dollar. It's just a digital representation.
But Tether could quickly move to being backed by Bitcoin, which I don't see, the dollar doing it very quickly at all, right? I mean, a Tether
Now,
could
have
just
you
switch.
heard of Saga?
I
Have you
haven't.
heard of Saga? What?
No, I have not.
So, Saga is a stable coin, but instead of being based on one currency, it's based on a basket of currency. And,
Yeah,
and over time, it'll be based on digital currencies, Bitcoin. And so if you want stability, obviously, if you're just going into something that reflects the dollar like Tether, there's probably less stability in that than a basket.
yeah, ostensibly. I mean, I think the currencies, for the most part, probably move together. But I think a basket would provide you maybe a little bit more stability. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
know
think it's
the
interesting.
people of
I've definitely heard that
Venezuela,
idea
or
before.
yeah, the people of Venezuela or Greece or other places might differ with you in terms of currencies all trading
Yeah,
together.
yeah. I have blinders on when it comes to basically enjoying the world reserve currency as my country's currency. And yeah, I interviewed Andreas Antonopoulos a few months ago and got
Oh, that must have been
absolutely.
awesome.
It was awesome. And I got absolutely like crushed by him though for that exact point. Like he was like, "Yeah, but you're showing your privilege there, man." And yeah, and then he went on for a couple of minutes to talk about his experience in Greece and other experiences around the world. So I need to keep that in mind, and I am guilty of not keeping that top of mind on a regular basis for sure.
Other than him, what would you say was the most interesting, your favorite? And obviously everybody's been great,
Yeah.
but who really stands out in terms of wow, that was really something?
Yeah, the Andreas episode I think turned out great, and that was really an honor to talk to him. I interviewed Adam Back, who was obviously an honor to interview him. Cited in the white paper, and not just the Bitcoin white paper, but also the Tor white paper. So he's a legendary, living legend in cryptography. That was awesome. And then, I mean, I have just some good friends, people who become good friends that I have a lot of fun interviewing, like Matt Odell and Gigi, who have done a lot of great work writing and educating in Bitcoin, and I just have a lot of fun hanging out with them. So I think those guys were some of my like most fun episodes. I also really like John Vallis. He's kind of new on the scene, but I get along really well, and that was just really fun, just natural like feeling conversations with guys like that. So.
Oh, cool. And who's he? What does he do?
He also has a Bitcoin podcast called Bitcoin Rapid Fire, and he's just a Bitcoiner. He's He's been around for quite a while. He understands this stuff really well, and we just get along really well. So he's been a lot. I mean, the episode I did with him was a lot of fun. I've been on his podcast too. So I just, in terms of like just having fun, and those guys, I would think I come to mind.
And then in terms of, other than your own and John's, who other podcasts, who did you learn from? Who do you get inspiration from?
So Matt Odell and Marty Bent have a podcast called Tales from the Crypt. Listen to that one a lot. Stefan Livera. And yeah, those are my main, like John Vallis, Stefan Livera, Tales from the Crypt. And I think, I try to listen to a lot more. I also like Fun with Bitcoin. There's some smaller ones that are sort of niches. I like Lightning Junkies, really focuses on lightning stuff, which is a lot of fun. Yeah.
So I assume you think obviously layer 2 is a key to scaling of the protocol?
Oh yeah, I think so. Absolutely. Yeah, I see the base layer as sort of a settlement layer, and you can't. I mean, if you're going to have Bitcoin be a medium of exchange, obviously you can't do it on the base layer. To me, I mean that's ridiculous. I mean, it's the transaction per second rate are just obviously way too small to support the global medium of exchange. So the base layer will evolve into a settlement layer. It'll compete more with like Swift and other international banking settlement layers that exist now, and we'll batch millions of transactions into single base layer transactions with technology like Schnorr and Taproots, and then Lightning, of course. So we're like, the tech is to really scale Bitcoin is there, but it's early stages and it's growing. I mean, it's amazing how fast it's coming to it is maturing, I guess I should say.
Okay, and then my last question, we'll see if anybody from the audience has questions afterwards. And with the different technologies, do you have any thoughts on, you spend much time on zero knowledge proof? DeForest, right? So they got $25 million, 25 million, across all kinds of different assets, I guess, including, and they've already started to talk to them and give some back, like the Wobie Wrap BTC, because the only place they can, they can monetize that is on Wobie, and because they know it's stolen, that they can't.
Yeah. There's definitely, I would not recommend Monero or Zcash or other projects like that as money. I see them as sort of laboratories of innovation in new crypto like techniques and cryptography in general. But I don't. Yeah, I mean, to me, obviously, I'm a Bitcoiner and Bitcoin only advocate. So I think that Bitcoin's really the only money.
I think they call that a maximalist, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like term much, but yeah, I could identify as that. I mean, I am.
Why don't you like the term?
Bitcoin only.
Why
Yeah,
not?
it's all right. I think.
What does it
all
connote
right.
that? What is it? Does it connote something that you don't agree with,
I don't
or
know.
that
I
you
just
think
don't
has
know
a
if it's
negative
necessarily.
connotation?
No, I don't know if it's necessarily. It definitely is used in a negative way among other crypto fans of other projects, etc. But I mean, it was coined by Vitalik Buterin originally as a kind of a slight against Bitcoiners. And
Oh wow! I
it
did
is
not. I did
appropriate.
not know that. That's really
Yeah,
funny.
and then Bitcoiners kind of have embraced it, but I just don't know if it's that accurate. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Maximal, like, what is that, and what does that mean? I mean, I'm a proponent of Bitcoin only. Like, I only work on Bitcoin. I'm only really interested in Bitcoin as money. And I follow other crypto projects, but like to me, they're just projects. They're not money. So
Yeah, and I think so. That was awesome. Really, really enjoyed that conversation. I don't know if anybody from the audience, you can raise your
sorry,
hand.
and then some people are disappointed in me.
Yeah,
All those
if
sad
you've got any
faces.
questions.
You guys, you have
I know
a
this crypto
raising
money.
hand button. Feel free to press that button if you have any questions and you'd like to come up and ask. So just press the raise hand button and I'll get your notification.
Going once,
Really sorry,
going
man.
twice. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
cool. Well, look,
Hey.
this was awesome. Whoop. Who's got a
Sorry.
question?
Scott.
Question back here.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Scott.
Great presentation. Swan Bitcoin seems really cool. I'm gonna check it out. But what do you guys?
Hey, Scott. You want to come? You want to come up? Scott, why don't you come up stage?
Yeah.
Can you come on stage?
Hey, how's it going?
You just
I
hit
was
the
just
B
wondering
button.
where. Oh,
Yeah, he's good.
I'm up here. Hey, guys.
Okay, come to the other side of Brady.
Hey, Brady.
Hey,
I was
that's
wondering
good.
where does Swan Bitcoin see their customers coming from? You guys say you're trying. Are you guys focused on
Mhm.
educating Bitcoiners about Bitcoin, or are you guys focused on people that
Yeah.
about anything? And probably a little bit of both. Where are you finding those customers? Thank you.
Yeah. So the approach right now is because there's not a lot of new coiners coming into the space at the moment. We are really marketing toward Bitcoiners, and I think there are quite a few Bitcoiners to serve. Those are, they're limited. So what our strategy is right now is to become the most recommendable Bitcoin on-ramp. So we want Bitcoiners to recommend us, like as opposed to Kraken or Coinbase or other exchanges like that, because we are Bitcoin only. We're focused on Bitcoin. We have lower fees. We are focused on educating people. Like we spend a lot of time in chat, talking to people. We really want people to withdraw and hold their own keys. We don't make any.
Right.
We don't make any money.
What percentage of
people holding?
What percentage
Yeah.
of your customers own their own keys?
Well, I mean, we're only a few weeks in to the product right
Yep.
now, so the first set of withdrawals are just now happening. And like I said, because we're really serving a lot of Bitcoiners right now, they're already aware of, holding their own keys and how important that is. So we're seeing withdrawals happen right now. We do have a couple of Bitcoiners who were recommended to us, like family members and friends of some other Bitcoiners. And what's cool is like those Bitcoiners don't have to really spend as much time teaching people how to hold their own keys and that kind of stuff. Will help help along with that process. So yeah, so Scott, like we're trying to be the most recommendable Bitcoin service for Bitcoiners, and when those third-party referrals really come in, as this next bull wave that we all hope is coming, comes, a lot more attention coming in, a lot more new coiners, and then they're going to come find their Bitcoin friends and come to Twitter, and we're hoping we get a lot of recommendations. And at that point, we'll be really ramping up our efforts to produce content for them.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Scott. Scott is
Yeah.
as you met earlier.
All
with
right.
the,
There's one more person who wanted to come up. Patrick, you can come up where Scott was. You can continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Where are you from, Patrick?
I'm from Washington, D.C. That's my nearest city. So
Nice.
yeah.
Cool.
what about you? Where are you from, bro?
I am in
Uh,
Kansas City.
Okay.
and I'm in
Yeah,
New
in the
York
middle of the
City.
country.
Oh, nice.
Crypto Monday VR. So Crypto Monday's been in 57 cities. Mike Evron, who's in the audience there, runs Crypto Mondays LA. Scott, who just asked a question with the Bitcoin Center, that's where Crypto Monday Miami happens. And we run Crypto Monday NYC, which now is Crypto Monday VR.
Understood.
Yeah.
You know, Annalise and Jerome and I, we do a weekly podcast in this world every single Tuesday. So, yeah,
Nice.
we've been doing that for quite some time now. We're on season 2. I really wanted to ask Brady about the service that he's providing. Are you operating an exchange?
No, not because we only have one asset that we will enable purchases for. So we're not really exchanging. I mean, you can exchange US dollars for Bitcoin. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess we are an exchange, but not really an exchange that we all kind of have come to know in the crypto space.
But if you're handling
So
fiat to Bitcoin transactions, that does mean that you are SEC
Yeah.
compliant and you're falling within the regulatory
Yes.
frameworks and guidelines.
yeah, so we work with a custodial partner called Prime Trust. They're also the custodial service for Huobi, Binance, and some other really big crypto exchanges. They do, I don't know what their volume is, but so we are not actually custodying the Bitcoin. So we're really kind of like a layer 3 or like a second layer, or like a sort of I guess just a kind of an app on top of Prime Trust, kind of like Binance would be. But we're Bitcoin only. We're focused on education. We're focused on dollar cost averaging and recurring buys instead of other cryptos and traders, etc. So
What's the true purpose of literally using your service once atomic swaps are deployed onto the Bitcoin network framework?
atomic swaps from USD to Bitcoin.
Well, I guess, yeah, definitely between some sort of smart contract.
Mhm.
Because I'm not for sure if you're aware of this, but Litecoin is now implementing Mimblewimble, which
Mhm.
rolled out recently. But they're also
Yeah.
developing a smart contract-based platform that's supposed to be able to atomic swap in between Bitcoin, etc.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
right now you could send Bitcoin to a Litecoin address and it works seamlessly. So yeah,
Mhm.
completely interoperable.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool.
USDC is a smart contract, just to elaborate further for
Mhm.
anybody out there in the crowd that doesn't know.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of these smart contracts, and I think in the crypto space are really fascinating. I think will be able to interoperate with Bitcoin. I think a lot of the types of smart contracts, similar functionality, will come to Bitcoin eventually. But yeah, I mean, I think you still need an on ramp, a fiat to Bitcoin on ramp, and at least, I mean, for the quite the foreseeable future, right? I think that's like our service will be useful to a lot of people for quite a while, and we'll see how things play out, and things will change with time, and we'll roll with that.
I get what you mean. I completely understand
Yeah.
what you're saying. You're just gonna, roll with the punches, essentially. And
Yeah, we'll see how things develop, but I mean, I think the business model as it is right now and the product we are offering is going to be useful for quite a while.
so let's
The
say, for
yeah.
instance, the digital Fed dollar is rolled out literally next month, okay? And
Mhm.
all crypto banking services are being transferred over to a cryptographic based system, which is something that's already happening in China right now as we speak.
Yep.
Uh, what's the point of having a cryptocurrency on ramp when everybody's funds are literally just going to be cryptographic? Case in point.
Yeah. I mean, if that happens, and there's no more use for a fiat to Bitcoin service, then we'll have to do something else, or we'll be obsolete, right? But I think that moving from, even if we had a digital Fed dollar, it's still a dollar, right? And you still need a way to, like, maybe you want to do recurring buys. We can automate that for you. And yeah, I think providing the service of basically being your kind of the Bitcoin guy, the Bitcoin friend that you're going to go to, kind of like you have the computer guy, in your family or among your groups of friends. And when you have a computer question, you need some help with that, like you go to that guy. We're trying to basically provide that as a service to Bitcoiners and people who are helping their family and friends kind of get into the space for the first time.
Okay.
So that's
it. And I would just add that and then I think we're good on questions because we've kept Brady an hour. That my guess is whenever the digitized U.S. dollar comes, and my guess is it's not tomorrow, next week, or next month, or next year. But when it does come, like they're not going to allow you to buy drugs with it, probably, right? They're not going to allow you to use it on the dark web. And my guess is they're not going to allow you to buy Bitcoin with it, right? Because
possibly,
why would they?
Yeah.
Right? It turns out the U.S. government's a bully. That's part of the reason. That's my belief, at least, and that's part of the reason why I'm here. That's part of my. I assume that's part of the reason why a lot of people are here. But thanks a lot, Patrick, for. Yeah,
me too.
Thanks a lot for the questions, Patrick, and let's give Brady a big hand. Thanks a lot, Brady.
Thank you, guys.
Real
Really
quick,
appreciate you
Brady,
having me.
in case someone has a question that couldn't get answered today and they would like to find you, where can they find you?
I'm on Twitter at Citizen Bitcoin, and you can find me at Swan Bitcoin. I'm often tweeting at Swan Bitcoin as well. SwanBitcoin.com is our product. And yeah, I'm always on Twitter, so that's probably the best way to find me. My DMs are open.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jacob.
All right. Where did I
Hey,
go?
Annalise,
Oh, I'm over here.
you want to give Brady? You got a few more minutes. You want to take a tour of the space?
Yeah, man. Let's see it.
Okay, so follow Annalise. She'll give you a tour. Anybody who wants to can join the tour.
All right, just give me 1 second. I'm going to end the live stream for all of you guys who are out there watching on our stream. Thank you. Come back next week for more Crypto Monday.